Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Everybody's working for the weekend. Taking care of business every day. Now it's wow, 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 wow. Welcome to the working week.
Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Minimum wage.
Church, and I'm your host for the hour with my co-host.
I'm Sean McGauley, co-host for the hour.
And Sean and I work for an organization called the Central Massachusetts Workforce Investment Board, which is the organization that oversees the public workforce system for Worcester and 37 surrounding communities in southern Worcester County. Want to get right to it. We have a show chock full here today, so we're going to bring in our first guest, Mike Corcoran. And Mike is the program coordinator for a program that offers training funding to businesses through the uninsured, through their contribution made through the unemployment insurance system. So we're going to get into all the details here in a minute. But Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the invite.
So let's just dive right into it then. What can tell us a little bit about the Workforce Training Fund?
Well, the
and what it
program's been
does.
around since 1999. Basically, it's a training program for all businesses in Massachusetts to utilize to train their workforce and improve their business. It's paid for through a surcharge tax of approximately $8.40 a year that every business pays when they pay their quarterly unemployment tax, so it's roughly $2.10 a quarter. We've done close to, I think, $300 million in training grants since the program started in 1999. Unfortunately, it's kind of a well-kept secret in Massachusetts, but a lot of companies make use of it. But it pays for an incredible amount of training to improve companies' businesses.
And so businesses that pay into this fund are able to access funds for it, to train their incumbent workers, and really the goal is to make their businesses more competitive and to help grow their business. Correct?
Yeah, basically that's how the whole thing started. And when back in 1998 time frame, when the businesses were facing immense challenges, aging population, immigrant population, language issues, technology boom, global pressures in terms of economics and doing business across the pond, so to speak. Training became a real issue and it was very expensive. So this is how the program gets set up. It's basically, it collects almost $21 million a year and gives it back in the form of 5 different types of grants to give companies the ability to train newly hired workers, their incumbent workers, do long-term training, customized training. It pretty much covers a wide range of training. The only thing it does not pay for is mandated training by the state or federal government.
Okay. And typically, the training fund is used to really bring in a new training component or a new aspect versus something a company would typically do on their own. Like if someone has a hire and they've got a basic procedures within their company, that would be something that would be paid through this grant. It's typical. I'm probably speaking more about the general fund.
Yeah, the general program grant's a customized grant of up to $250,000 where a company takes a look at its overall business and brings in a consultant, training providers to do the training they can't do on their own. So we don't pay for basic skills training through a general program grant. It's customized to meet your needs. You hire the provider you want to do the training. You can train as few or as many people as you want. And the beauty is that we'll pay for all the training. You have to pay people while they're in training, but the fund will pick up not only the training costs, but related training materials. And it's customized, so you can do one piece of training or 6 or 7 different things.
And it's also, as you said, provided through training providers. So a range of training providers. It doesn't have to be done in-house or done through a specific training provider. It's someone
in-house
they can
training
work
is something a company would do on their own. What we're going to pay for is training they can't accomplish on their own.
So the general program up to $250,000. So and it's a 2-year window for them.
Contract to get the training completed.
So you know, a great way for business to increase the skills of their workforce, bring on new learning about new systems or bring in new systems, bring in a lot of, I know manufacturers use it to incorporate like lean manufacturing principles and Kaizen and some
We've
other.
done millions of dollars in lean, continuous improvement, but
Yeah.
we've done computer training, English as second language, adult basic ed, project management, a lot of soft skills, communication, problem solving, team building, which are essential in business today to get the product out the door.
And so, as you mentioned, it is sort of a secret out there. So we're trying to spread the word and to have you, come chat with us so that businesses know more about this resource and can take advantage of it. We have had several companies in Central Mass this past year, take advantage of it, and it's a great opportunity for them to bring in these additional resources to augment their competitiveness. You did mention some other programs that are out there. So that's the general fund. What's some other ones? I know there's another good one for new hires.
There's a new hire. There's a program called the Hiring Incentive Training Grant. This is a $30,000 grant over a 12-month time frame.
So sometimes people refer to that as Hitchy.
Hitchy, H-I-T-G, Hitchy. And what we're talking about here is that when we're talking about trying to get companies to look at long-term unemployed Massachusetts residents. And when we talk about long-term or dislocated worker,
So is that
it's 6 months out of work. So if a company is hiring someone either on a full or part-time basis and he or she has been out of work for 6 months, doesn't make any difference why they're out of work. They could be out of work for 2 or 3 years, but the minimum 6 months. They hire that person, they're going to have to spend some time training them. At this point, we'll give them $2,000 to offset the cost of the training, teaching this person the fundamentals of the job in which they're hired. It could be external training or internal training. It's a max of 15 hires over 12 months to a total of $30,000.
So that's a new amount, correct? That's been increased.
This is going to be increased. They're redoing the application now. Secretary Goldstein and the advisory panel thought that to further incentivize companies, they're increasing it to $5,000 a hire to a total of $75,000 over 12 months. That should be kicking in probably by the end of September when the new application is done. I should point out that all of these grants can be accessed online. They're all rolling applications. There's no deadlines for anyone to apply. You simply apply when you're ready for the fund.
Great. So that's something that businesses can look into. There's business service representatives at the career centers throughout the state that can help people understand the programs a little bit better, help them navigate the process. I know we at the Workforce Investment Board, we get to offer comments to the review team for the general fund applications, and we do from time to time talk to companies about thinking about putting in an application. The other thing that we've done in Central Mass is we've noticed that there's some small companies out there. They pay into the fund, but they don't necessarily have the wherewithal to manage, the grant itself, or necessarily the need for a full training grant. They've got maybe, small business. Maybe they've got a few staff, and so their training need is pretty minimal. And so what we did was we actually took a collection of those employers in the manufacturing sector down in Southbridge. There were 5 different employers that came together, so they had basic training needs that overlapped. And so what we were able to do is each company sent a couple, and we were able to fill a classroom for that particular course. And so we had a series of courses that they all needed, and so we did a consortium grant, which is another great way for companies to come together and work together to solve their joint training needs in a very cost-effective, manner. To bring in one trainer to train, 2 people is just about the same cost as bringing in, filling the rest of the classroom there. If you've got a class ratio of like 1 to 10, you might as well have 10 people in the room versus just 2.
Consortiums are a great way for companies to go, especially if you're small, or a lot of nonprofits have similar training needs because of the wages they pay or the cost of training. Combining with several other companies is a real good way to get a lot of training for a much better bang for your buck.
And so companies that, again, if you pay into the to UI Trust Fund, then you're eligible.
You're eligible, right. It makes no difference on your size. If you have one employee, you're eligible to partake of these programs that we're talking about. I should point out that I do travel the state giving free workshops and information sessions. I know I've got one coming up in your location in the near
October,
future. All this information is available on the website mass.gov/WTFP. or you can call my cell phone number at any time, 857-753-3494. Always happy to talk to anyone about the program.
Great. Now, so we've talked about the general fund, up to $250,000 to train staff over 2 years. We talked about the hiring incentive grant for hiring long-term unemployed. And there's another grant called the Express program.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
there's two more. There's the Express and the technical assistance. We'll talk about the Express. The Express grant program is kind of unique. It's geared for businesses with 100 or fewer employees. We talked earlier about some of the problems smaller companies have doing a large general program grant, customized training. So what we've said to these smaller companies that we have on the database under the Express program well over 2,000 pre-approved training programs. The programs could be on-site training, it could be an online training program, could be an off-site training program. Very basically, we pay 50% of anything you see approved on that. So if some company wanted to send someone for a computer course at a local community college and it was $500, if it was pre-approved and listed, they could take the course. We'll reimburse them 50% when the training's done. The contract is good for 24 months, and it's worth $30,000 in reimbursable training. And so we've geared it to smaller companies who really can't or don't have the wherewithal to do
so
it.
Trying to make it as easy as possible for them to pick off the shelf, so to speak.
Pretty much off the shelf, and there are, like I said, there's well over 2,000 approved programs. We're adding things all the time. We have vendors from in the state and out of state that are calling, trying to get listed as approved vendors. This is the only time we'll pre-approve a vendor since we need to know the cost. A course could last a day, 2 days, or 12 months, and they'll know when, where, and how much it's going to cost, and they sign up. We'll give them a contract, and again, when they're done, they send us the bill. We got them a check for 50%. These are no tax credits, by the way. These are direct reimbursements for the cost of training, and also there are no tax implications on any of the grants.
What a great opportunity for business to really increase the skills of their folks, and a great benefit to their employers who will get increased skills and credentials out of it as well. So it's really a win-win. The last one you had mentioned was a technical assistance grant. So
this is kind of a grant that's been around for a while, but it's kind of been updated, I think, to meet employer needs. In the past, if you were doing a consortium grant, say pulling companies together, but you really weren't sure what training needs they had in common, you could apply for a $25,000 technical assistance grant to hire a consultant to come in and review skills, look at the training needs, and come up with a curriculum for these organizations. So that person would say, look, you need communication skills, leadership skills, and maybe some
to really do an
skills.
Inventory of their needs.
All right? And in the past, it was geared to consortiums. I'm happy to say that we are now opening this up to companies.
Okay.
So if a company has no idea of what the training they might need, rather than apply for a grant and get the wrong training, they could hire a consultant, have them come in, take a look at their skill set deficiencies, have them assess what training's been done, what training they think the company may need based on what the company does, develop a curriculum to suit that need, and then from that apply for a general program grant. Small companies aren't like IBM. They don't have a big HR company that can assess the things that they need. So this is going to allow them to pick a training. I'm always concerned about a company having someone knock on the door and say, look, I do training. I can help you get a grant for the Workforce Training Fund program. You could really use this training. And then they find out when it's all done, that's not what they really needed, or they should have done some more training as well.
So really driven from the company up versus from a training provider down, so to speak.
Right. So this is brand new. I'm encouraging companies to take a look at this. It allows them to access a professional to help them determine what their training needs are.
Is it a 6-month period of time?
It's actually a 12-month contract worth up to $25,000. And we increased it to 12 months because I found in the past 6 months was not enough time.
Sometimes, yeah.
And as soon as they're done, they can apply for a general program grant. There's no waiting period between the grants.
So again, we're talking to Mike Corcoran, the program manager for Workforce Training Fund. And folks, again, can get more information on the web at mass.gov/WTFP, or they can call my cell, 857-753-3494.
Okay,
so any other thoughts out there that, especially for businesses that might be listening or nonprofits that might be listening, that anything else that we want to leave them with about the program?
Well, I think it's a real opportunity to really invest in your employees. We've found through the course of, it's going on now for almost 14, 15 years, a loyalty gets built up. the ability for a company to penetrate new markets, bring in their business, control their cost, has all been realized through training through the Workforce Training Fund program. We do a lot of English as a second language in adult basic ed, and that's something that I strongly recommend companies contact us about, because this is something that really makes a big difference in the company. And the bottom line is that if you haven't utilized the fund, you've been paying for it since 1999. If you're not using the money, your competitors are. So it's well worth your while to look into the program.
Great. And again, you had also mentioned that you have a roadshow that you bring out to folks and really go over it. It's a great chance to get interactive. And so I know on the website there is a listing of where you'll be. They're all over the state. You've got a couple coming up in central Massachusetts. And it's probably important to note that all of the workshops that are listed are open to the public.
Right.
And so to contact you for more information. Well, again, Mike, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you having.
Talk about the program.
And so we certainly want businesses to take advantage. Before you leave, though, we do have one other thing to do with you. It's kind of our it is kind of a tradition here that we don't let you leave without playing a little game here. We're gonna lighten things up for a moment. And so, according to Business Insider, we're talking about past jobs of celebrities. So we're going to give you a celebrity and give you 3 choices of jobs that he or she may have done. So the celebrity is Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey. So he was in several movies. Sean, do you know what any movies that Matthew McConaughey was in?
I just watched one of them.
He was in one, Failure to Launch, I think.
Yeah, he's in that.
Sahara.
Sahara. Well, okay.
Never been kissed?
Never been kissed, right?
Chick flick?
Several movies.
I know that one.
That's the one you know. So, okay. So, Matthew McConaughey. Here, I'm going to give you three job titles, and you have to guess the one that he was. Let's see. So, surf instructor, chicken coop cleaner, or foot model. Which one of those was a past job for Matthew McConaughey?
Well, every time you see him, he's in the water without a shirt on, so I'll go with surfing instructor.
That's a very good guess.
And without his shoes. Never had shoes.
Never had shoes.
I mean, have you seen the man's feet? Have you seen these feet?
Beautiful feet.
No, he was actually a chicken coop cleaner. This is according to Business Insider magazine. So I believe he has stopped doing that, however. If you do have a chicken coop out there, you will not be able to get Matthew McConaughey to clean it.
That was a tough one.
And so, Mike, before you leave, so we didn't win. So I'm sorry you can't.
So no
offer
prizes for Mike.
The prize was an all-expense paid trip to Hawaii. So please, let's go over your number one more time.
857-753-3494.
And more information at mass.gov/WTFP. Thanks again for coming in. We're going to take Bob.
While Mike was on the air, we even had a phone call that said to say hi to Mike, and I passed him the note. So
look at that.
He has fans out there, and he has people listening. Imagine that.
My sister called. Tracking me down.
You didn't have to admit that.
That's all right. I love her dearly.
Okay, so we're going to move on now. We've got a few things going on here. We have a pretty busy show this week. We've got a few different interviews that we've done. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. As Michael Corcoran leaves the studio here, we're going to get resituated.
Yeah, I think I've got it here. Do you want to try?
There you go.
Hopefully this works on the technical
Okay,
side.
we're here with Amy Mosher from Workforce Central. Amy is the strategy and innovation leader for Workforce Central, and we'll be launching a new television program. Exciting stuff. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the program you're launching.
Well, I'm really excited to say we're going to be spotlighting local entrepreneurs and job seekers in our community, and both groups are looking for exposure in today's marketplace, and the show will therefore be called Exposure with Mosher.
Love it. Excellent. So tell us a little bit about some of the guests. I know you already have some lined up.
Yes, we do. First pre-recorded session will be August 29th, and the show will air early September. And the 3 inaugural entrepreneur panelists include Jeff Bodette from Fitchburg, who is creating innovative products for landscapers, and also Elaine Jackson, who's hailing from Baldwinville, if you can believe it, and she has a company called Holistic Project Management Consulting. She's been in business for almost 8 years, so we're going to be giving a really great variety of entrepreneurs that are at different stages of business development.
Excellent. That show is going to be on WCCA TV. That's Channel 13.
Correct.
And so folks should be checking their local listings for Exposure with Mosher.
Right.
Thanks for being on the show, Amy.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, so we're back live. That was us with Amy Mosher. Exciting show. We've got
some competition coming now.
yeah, huh? Boy,
Or
that's
maybe
exciting.
just to supplement. You know,
Yeah,
that gives
supplement. Boy,
People
very-
can watch both. There's plenty of room on people's DVRs. You know. You
That's
can-
right. It's going up a different schedule from us, so a different time slot, if you will.
Yeah, always cool stuff going on at Workforce
great
Central.
that-
I know I share an office with Amy, and she's always got great stuff going on, and she's very innovative. So I think this show will be very cool.
Well, it's great to
check out.
sponsor too those folks that are out there following a dream, if you will, taking the plunge, starting your own business. Bob, have you ever started your own business?
Lemonade stand, I bet.
Oh, I was going to guess something else, but
No, not a lemonade stand. With the band many years ago.
oh, okay. For those that don't know, Bob Zakowski was a band
Rock star.
Yeah, band leader extraordinaire. Band. What was the name of the band?
Louis John Ltd.
Louis
Whoa.
John
Ltd.
Ltd.
Limited, yes.
There's a name.
I
There's
so
an
it
name.
wasn't the Bob Zakowski All Stars or
No, it was not.
Zakowski and the Rockets or something like that.
Almost.
Bobby Z and the Rockets. That's what I
Bobby
would.
Z.
That's what I would have named your band.
There was another band, a quartet, that was known as Bobby Z, but that was not us.
You
Now-
weren't the Bobby Z from the Bobby Z Quartet.
No, I was not.
Different Bobby Z
I
altogether.
bet you got that all the time, though. Are you
Oh, yes,
Bobby
all the
Z
time.
from the?
Yeah,
was that?
So, we are.
I'm tired of that.
I'm going to change the subject.
Okay,
and
sir.
Let the folks know that you guys are also seen on television, aren't you?
That's right. We're
Yeah.
on the Worcester channel.
Channel 12.
We want to thank Jessica, who's behind the
Behind the
camera
scenes.
today. Yeah.
Always. And we
That's right.
almost give our heart attack every time we come here.
Because we're late.
Well,
That's
we're not
right.
late, but we're
Fashionably on time.
fashionably on time.
I should mention too, we're back in our main studio this week, so it feels almost like we're back home again.
Yeah. New seats, though. We've switched spots, and for those of you on the radio, I usually sit on the left, and Jeff's on the right, but now we're
Mixing it up. I'm
Switching that up,
totally
so.
mixing it up. So we
got a new view.
last week we were taping from Studio B,
Studio B.
but we're back in
Yes.
Studio A. So this is like
Good.
our home studio. So it feels good to be kind
And
of
we're live again, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So
yeah, we're going to change
to
the subject again,
segue
right?
back over. So we did, one thing that's going on out there in the job market is that people are utilizing more and more online tools, and so you've got LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and how that gets used is kind of evolving as we go.
Oh, yeah.
And so folks at Workforce Central, I believe John McCarthy, the business service representative, is always on the lookout for new tools and whatnot, had made a connection with a local startup company based here in Massachusetts. So that's kind of neat in itself that
Yep.
there's a startup, a digital startup here based in Massachusetts. And what they do, it's called Gozaik. So it's almost like mosaic with a G,
Yep.
right? And what they, with a G and a Z, I think, right? So,
Yep.
so there you go. So what they do is they actually have a way through use of algorithms and different coding or whatever.
Tech-speak.
Search the Twitterverse, if you will, the Twitter universe for tweets that have to do with job postings. A lot of companies now, I believe it's up, over like 70,000 per day or whatever, are more or less exclusively now tweeting about job openings. So it's something they would say to their followers, hey, we're looking for a marketing director. If you've got any, leads, send them our way, or check out our website at da-da-da.
Yep.
And so what Gozaik has figured out is a way to do that. I shouldn't steal all the thunder.
Yeah, don't
You
take
had it-
everything from that.
Yeah, why bother even playing the interview you did with...
If you just want to
with-
talk about No, I sat down with Lauren Simonelli over there, and she... it's like you said, it's just a very cool new thing that's going on, and employers are now posting jobs on Twitter and some of these different because it's a free way to post their position. So without further ado, here's our interview. All right, our next guest on the Working Lunch is Lauren Simonelli, the social marketing manager from Gozaik. Lauren, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. So Gozaik, can you tell us a little bit about what Gozaik's doing? I know it's a local company, and it's changing the way we look for and apply for jobs.
Absolutely. So Gozaik is a social job application, and basically what it does is allows job seekers to create a multimedia interactive resume where they can put the typical things you find on a resume, as well as things like video, images, work samples, and then they can use that resume to apply to jobs via Twitter. Through Gozaik, you can search jobs that are tweeted by employers, recruiters, HR managers, basically anybody out there. You can search those job postings by their location, industry, skill, even job title, and then you can respond to those tweets with a copy of your Gozaik resume, or you can respond to those tweets just to start a conversation and engage with the person that's posting them, or you can just simply use Gozaik as a search engine for those job postings, and then you can go through that company's application process as well.
So Lauren, this is becoming a major trend with huge employers from all over the world, right? Employers are posting now on Twitter because it's a free platform to post a job, as opposed to some of the other like Monster and some of the other ones which will you actually have to pay for. Is that correct?
Right, exactly. There's over 50,000 jobs that are tweeted every single day between employers and recruiters and those HR managers. So everybody's kind of turning to Twitter just because it's a free place for them to make that announcement that they're hiring.
And then so Gozaik allows a job seeker to create a customized profile and use that as kind of their online resume to apply for these jobs?
That's right. Yep, it gives you your own online resume with your own URL. So it would be, for example, gozaik.com/yourname, and then you can apply with that link, and other people, those hiring managers, can view your profile. And on your profile, you can really put as much or as little as you want. You can have a picture of yourself, a cover photo to kind of make it unique to you. You can play around with the layout and the colors, and then include things obviously like your education experiences, where you're looking for work, the skills you have, languages you speak. You can include links to your social media, copies of work you've done, and then an introductory video or a video of some work you've done in the past.
So you can really make it as much or as little as you want and really customize it and make yourself stand out then.
Right, exactly.
And then I heard you say the video. So that's kind of what really sets this apart is this video, almost like a video resume where they can introduce themselves. What kind of things have people done with the video? Is it an introductory thing, or do they talk about their experience, their background?
It honestly varies. Most people, you'll see an introductory video where they kind of introduce themselves, what they're looking for in a position, maybe mention their education, what they are currently doing. But then you get some people that are into media and graphic design and
showcase their
that
skills
kind of
and everything. Yeah.
To edit videos, and they pull together these pretty neat videos of some work they've done. So there's definitely a huge range, but it's a really beneficial thing for job seekers to have, just because it's like your first impression, and you get a chance to perfect it, because you can sit in front of your computer and record it 10 times if you want before you like it. But I know obviously it feels awkward for people to sit in front of the camera and record
and talk about themselves, right?
Definitely a plus to help make your resume stand out from other people.
Right, and about a month or two ago, you came out to our career center to talk with a group of our job seekers about Gozaik, and I know there were some older job seekers in the audience that were concerned initially about hey, I'm worried about somebody looking at my video and saying, oh, age discrimination, you're too old for this position. And kind of a discussion broke out amongst everybody there, and people were saying, it may show your age, but at the same time, it shows that you're somebody who's willing to change, showcase your technological skills, and, adapt to the new job search environment.
Right. It's showing them that, okay, maybe you are older, but that's not stopping you from keeping up with technology. And at the same time, for those people, if somebody is going to discriminate against you based on your age, you might as well get it out of the way to begin with.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste your time going through the whole application and interview process for that to happen.
You're delaying the inevitable. Again, we're here
Right.
with Lauren Simonelli, the social marketing manager for Gozaik. So do you have any advice for people who are setting up their first Gozaik account? Like, have you seen things online that really stand out, or maybe some things that that don't really get the success that they're looking for?
I would just say that a big part of it is completeness. If you leave sections blank or are hesitant to maybe do the video or put up images, it just kind of makes people wonder when they're looking at it, why aren't you including those parts of your resume?
Oh, yeah.
So I would just say make it complete, be yourself, and do the video, as awkward as it seems, because it makes your profile, your resume stand out that much more.
Yeah, and that's something, too, that we're working here at the Career Center to try and set up, is a place where job seekers can come to record their video and then set it up. Because, like you said, if a piece is missing on there, an employer might wonder, okay, well, what are they hiding here?
Right, exactly.
So for folks at home that are interested in going and setting up a profile and getting started, what's the process? Do they just go to gozaik.com?
Yep, it's actually pretty simple. There's a walkthrough on there for first-time users. So when you get to gozaik.com, you can either log in via Facebook or Twitter. You can use your email too, and then you can just follow that walkthrough. It'll take you step by step to add the different aspects of your resume. And if you're a LinkedIn user, there's certain areas where you can import things like your skills and education from LinkedIn, so that you don't have to type it all in again. And then it'll just walk you along, and then you'll end up on your completed resume.
Well, there you have it. Job search is certainly changing. It's not your your grandmother's job search anymore. Things are online, and it's great to see companies like Gozaik connecting with the career centers and also helping people stay on top of that cutting edge technology. So again, Lauren, thank you for joining us, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course, thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay, great interview, Sean.
Thanks. It was all Lauren. She was pulling me through it.
That's true. I really do. I love the shout out to Grandma and her and her
Anytime I
career
can put my
search.
grandma in an interview, I'm going to do it.
Not your grandmother's job search. But it's true, isn't it? I mean,
it is. Things are changing. I mean, the way your network is changing now. Instead of like a face-to-face, it's also supplemented with a LinkedIn and an online piece.
Yeah.
Everything.
It just goes to show you, though, how the pace of change in our culture is advancing and is speeding up. Because the expression used to be, hey, it's not your grandfather's Oldsmobile or whatever, right? It's not your grandmother's job search, right?
Yeah.
Think about this. It's not your job search of 2 years ago. Don't worry about your grandparents.
Yeah.
It's not even your parents. It's not even you from 10 years. It's like literally how much in the last 2 years job search has changed. I mean, whether it's social media and LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Or now Twitter. I got to be honest. I don't get Twitter. I'm not sure my radio gets it. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I'm able to tune in. I think the reception's really bad for the Twitter. I gotta maybe go outside or something. No, I just don't understand this whole hashtag thing. And you and I have talked. You've explained it to me several times.
Yeah.
All I know is when I'm talking to people, I can be like hashtag pain. And apparently that's like
as long as it gets a laugh, that's all.
Like I could be like hashtag don't understand technology,
there you
right?
go. Yeah.
So I don't
right
actually
now.
understand what that means when I say, is my microphone working, Bob?
Oh yes.
Okay, it is working. Okay, I'm not
This
getting
thing
all right,
on.
now I have the power. Hashtag microphone might not be working. So do you get my point though? That I mean, it's such a brave new world, and for maybe people a little bit on the older spectrum like me, it's
that's why it's so important for people to listen to the Working Lunch so they can
understand things.
They can hear about these.
And if you take away nothing, when you're talking to someone, just to be hip and just be like hashtag whatever, just throw hashtag.
That's today's takeaway.
So speaking of new things and keeping up with the times, Quinsigamond Community College is rolling out a new program.
Yep.
And I believe it's a weekend program. I don't want to. Again, you don't want
to step on too much.
I keep doing that, don't I? I'll tell people what they're gonna hear. But at any rate, why don't we? Are we ready to?
With Steve Budd, who has been on the show before, kind of as a reoccurring guest.
And he's a vice president up at QCC.
Yeah, and he's got some new programming at QCC that he wanted to talk about. So
why don't we roll that clip now?
That sounds good.
Hi, this is Sean from the Working Lunch. I'm here with Steve Budd from Quinsigamond Community College. As you'll recall, from time to time we like to have our partners at QCC on to talk about the different things going on there. And Steve, I think you got some exciting information for us today, don't you?
Well, there's a lot that we'd like to share, Sean. We've been going great guns here, trying to design new ways of offering some of these new certificates that I want to talk about, but offering them in formats that I think are going to open them up to more people.
Yeah. Speaking of the certificate programs, we had chatted a little bit about the new one you guys are piloting, the accounting certificate program.
Right. And the interesting thing about that one is we're going to pilot it in an all-weekend format. So, what we're looking to do here is to offer a weekend college to, those folks who can devote a Friday evening and an entire Saturday to studies, to be able to, enable them to pursue this accounts payable, accounts receivable certificate and complete it in one semester. We consider that full-time if you go Friday night and Saturday. And, of course, Sean, there's study that's involved. So, maybe library time on Sunday, and then squeezing in some study over the course of the week. But the important thing is you only attend class on Friday night and all day Saturday.
And then how many weeks is the program itself?
Okay, it runs 16 weeks, which is the normal length of a semester. If you start in September, you're going to finish this by January.
And this is available all online? The courses are all online?
Well, they're not all online. One of them, at least, is online as an online option.
Okay, so participants have the option of choosing an online course or a classroom course.
In some cases, I don't want to mislead anybody. There will be time on campus that you need to spend.
Right.
And it will be, your Friday nights and Saturdays. Some of our online courses, Sean, really aren't dependent upon the particular time of day or day of the week because you work independently at them. But, these courses are going to, all but one of them that's online, will require in-classroom time on that Friday night and Saturday.
But still, this would allow somebody who has a 9-to-5, Monday through Friday job to that's looking to get ahead or looking to move into a different position to get their schooling done.
Absolutely. It gives you, 16 credits is a whole semester's worth of credit. And I want folks to know, too, that, these certificates were designed with a whole lot of employer input. And, what that ensures us is that, these are all built with employment opportunities at the end of them. Okay?
Right.
So, we know that there's a market for people that have this kind of training.
Yes, you mentioned the accounts payable, accounts receivable certificate, and so you've done some research, and there are jobs out there for people who have this certificate.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, given that we've worked closely with employers, in putting this together, we've asked them things like, what kinds of software packages are you using?
Okay.
What does a job applicant at your place need to hit the ground running, the first day of work? So, one of the outcomes of that is that, many of the content of these courses is designed around a QuickBooks format.
Oh, right.
Because we got a lot of employer input saying we need people, we use QuickBooks at our company, so we need people that are conversant in QuickBooks and, can start right away with what we got. We don't have to train them. So that's the point. Employers know that the people coming to them out of these programs aren't going to need a whole lot of additional training. They're going to be able to hit the ground running. Now, on top of that, it's important to know that once you earn one of these certificates, that's one semester along the way to a more advanced degree. All of these programs can be added to get more advanced degrees.
So these are all stackable credentials?
All stackable credentials.
Is that the buzzword there?
That's right. That's right, absolutely.
Oh, good. So it's great to hear that employers are connecting with QCC on what they really need for candidates.
Well, yeah, we realize, Sean, that, so many of our students, 75% of our students work already. Okay, they work and they're going to school. We know that when we say a 2-year associate degree, for very few people, that's really 2 years, unless they can, focus on the program full time.
Yep.
So we know people need a result. People need to get some schooling. They need to go back into the workforce, or they need to upgrade their skills to, get some advancement in wherever they may be working now, and they can do that in a semester if they're willing to put in the kind of time and lose their weekends for the entire fall.
Yeah.
But given that, there's a very positive outcome, I think, at the end of all this.
Yeah, it kind of gives you that immediate satisfaction where you can get something right away that can be used alone, or you can still build up on top of it, the stackable credential you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. If you get turned on by this, find out you like school, and the certificates are getting you some traction in the job market, you decide to come back, perfect.
Go for it,
We're
yeah.
here for you. Yep.
So this sounds like an awesome model, and I know you mentioned that this was a pilot for QCC.
Yes.
Are there plans to expand this model and do some different stackable credentials?
Absolutely. We do have a bunch of certificates that are beginning to be offered in the fall. We've got one in computer systems, engineering technology. We've got one in manufacturing technology. We've got this business one. We've got a healthcare certificate. And we also have heating, ventilation, and air conditioning that we're offering as a one-semester certificate. Now, they're not all being offered on weekends, just the accounts receivable one so far. So that's the weekend one. But the others are being offered in an accelerated format, meaning that, normally it might take you a year to complete these. Now you can complete them in a semester because some of them have you going to school 5 days a week.
Right.
So there are a multitude of options, for people to put this together. If you can, if you're not working and you can devote a whole semester full time, you've got a bunch of different prospective programs you can pursue. We will add more to this weekend college model, but, we're starting with the accounts receivable because, that's the one where we have found, the most demand right now for employment. So we want to go with that one first.
Yeah, it's a good jumping point. And with these other certificate programs, have you worked with employers with those as well?
Yes, very definitely. All of our academic departments have very strong connections with business and industry, and that happens in a couple of ways, Sean. All programs at the college have advisory groups that are comprised of professionals who are working, in the industries that those programs are meant to feed employees to. So, that's one way. Secondly, many of our academic programs require internships or field placements. So we get lots of feedback.
You get that connection there, too, yeah.
Absolutely.
These kids are coming out ready, or they need this skill, or
Right. It's hands-on training, plus, it gives the college, feedback from employers, telling us, hey, your people are short this.
Yeah.
Or your people are real good at that, and that's the way, we learn how to tweak the programs to make sure there's a real good match.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And so these sound like great programs. I mean, I can think of a bunch of my friends who are kind of in a position that would be perfect for their certificate program, so I'm going to let them know about it. And how do I let them know how to enroll? Where would they go?
Okay, you know what? Let me give you a web address here.
Sure.
One is, now it's called My Way.
My Way.
And what you do is you go online and you type in, this is actually an email address to get information. So, excuse me, don't want to misspeak. You can go onto your email and type My Way at qcc.mass.edu. to our admissions office, and they'll turn around and send you a bunch of stuff or give you a phone call. Okay?
Great.
But the other thing you can do, you can go right to the college's website, which is www.qcc.edu and then /myway. And you'll get a page that talks directly about these certificates, because it's all about doing your education your way.
Great. Well, Steve, thank you for joining us again this month. It's always a pleasure to have you in the studio. I think homework for next time, we got to come up with some sort of name for this segment. We need something catchy.
Well, love it, Sean. You guys are great in helping us get this information out to the public. A lot of opportunities here at QCC, and all of these classes have room in them. So, I would just encourage the listeners to
get on the web.
Get on the web, or give us a call to the admissions office. That'd work also.
All right. Thanks, Steve, and take care.
You bet. Thank you, Sean.
All right. Bye.
All right, Sean, you're really becoming quite an accomplished interviewer.
Wow.
Accomplished, my friend.
Thanks.
That was great. So it is neat to see new programs, especially as QCC is really responding to employer requests and demand, and which of course makes the students in those programs much more marketable to them. So, well, it's about that time. We're going to head over to the mail call section. I think we have an intro. Let's see if we can.
Mail time. Who's here?
Huh?
That sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Well, that's courtesy of I think Blue's Clues.
That's good.
I believe public domain or something. I think we're
okay. This is
it's satire.
Bob knows blues, I think, so it'll be clear.
Yes.
So, what do we have in the mailbag this
month? We've got an email from Having a Hard Time in Hardwick, which I really like what they did there with the subject of.
It's good. I think that helps maybe influence your decision which one you're going to pick. It's like, who takes the extra time to come up with a little bit of an alliteration there?
Yeah, I love it.
So what was it? Having a hard time in Hardwick. I'm trying to think.
See, WCUW even reaches Hardwick.
It's streaming on the web. It pretty much
right.
You get it anywhere.
Reaches anywhere.
Excellent.
So Having a Hard Time in Hardwick writes, "Hey guys, I'm an older worker that has been laid off for a few months now. I've been having a lot of trouble finding work, and I think a lot of it has to do with my age. Are there any tips you can give me to help get around this issue?"
So we looked into this, and there are some tips out there for older job seekers, to really kind of look at how they're approaching it. As we talked about before with Twitter and LinkedIn and whatnot, is familiarize yourself with the new job search tools and technologies that are out there. Make sure that you do have a social media presence, a professional social media presence, and that your personal social media presence is also appropriate for a job search mode. So just make sure that there's nothing on your social media sites that would paint you in a negative light. So, and that goes for all ages, but as older job seekers create their profiles, it is something to remember. So I would definitely encourage older job seekers to create a LinkedIn profile if they haven't already. Mm-hmm. Check out Gozaik and see about maybe utilizing their tools around video resume, which is kind of different and out there. As of right now, not every industry utilizes it or whatever, but certainly it's another opportunity to paint yourself in the best picture, right, in the most flattering light, so to speak. But some other things you can do too when you're approaching an employer through a cover letter or resume, take a look at that and streamline it to what's most relevant to that opening that's out there. So you don't have to list 30, 40 years of work experience when some of those years
you can kind of hand pick really relevant to the
streamline it. You don't need a 7-page resume.
You mean I can't put down my 50 years of employment? history.
You can,
50
sir.
years.
I can.
Wow.
50 years. Yes.
You've earned that, right? But when looking for a new opportunity, it's probably best to stay with the most relevant to the position that you're applying for, to try to keep it somewhat streamlined. You will have an opportunity, hopefully during an interview, to discuss some of the other experiences and how that relates to the job at hand. Same thing with the cover letter. Really kind of emphasize the skills that you bring without necessarily talking about years of experience. So in the cover letter, you want to say, in my 50 years of experience. You also want to make sure that, so it's basically age proofing your resume, and your cover letter is the way some people refer to it. You also want to show that you are flexible in learning new skills, and that you have recent and relevant skills that you've learned and utilized, and that can bring to the job, and that you're flexible about that. What's the old saying about old dog can't learn new tricks or whatever? Mm-hmm. You want to show that that's not in fact the case for you.
Sean, notice he's not looking at you while he's talking. He's looking at me.
Well, I know Bob said he was particularly excited about this segment.
Well,
yes, I am.
I should mention, though, I am looking at Bob because he has done exactly that. He's the one that has shown me several new tools that are out there, technology tools to make our jobs a little easier, and so he is always on the hunt for the next new trick.
And I also wanted to make a quick plug for the Career Center, Workforce Central. They have a Using Your Age to Advantage
workshop.
Using Your Age to Your Advantage workshop, too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that you could go to Workforce Central, sign up for, and I know that one fills up pretty quick.
That's the thing, too, is, with age comes experience, and also a vast network. So really tap into that network and reach out to some former colleagues and friends to see, get the word out there what you're looking for, so that you can take advantage of that. So really, and then the last thing too is just little things too, like make sure fashion wise you dress appropriately, that you're looking for something that's up to date. At the same time, you don't want to be trying to dress like a teeny bopper out there, right?
The bell bottoms and the Edwardian suits don't cut it at this time.
Describe for me an Edwardian suit. Is that
wide lapel that almost reaches the shoulder?
Yeah, I like those. I like those.
Yeah.
Edwardian suit.
Is that what that would be with the ruffled tux look?
Yeah, it could go well with a ruffled tux look.
Excellent. Well, I'm there then. Edwardian.
Edward. Yes.
Edwardian. So, Sean, we've talked about, technology seems to be kind of a recurring theme in both, so for job searching, for older workers.
Shows, we've talked about it in other shows, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just...
It really is changing the nature of the job market and the job search process. I recall, it wasn't too long ago that, Monster.com was like a new thing.
Yeah.
And having a job board, an online job board. There are still people that come into the Career Center and they're looking for a job lead notebook. Back in the day, we used to primarily we would pull, faxes or whatever and combine them into a job lead notebook that people could work through.
Yeah. I've never even heard of that.
And so that, and I want to say that was available as well as the online thing. It might still be available.
So was it pulling stuff from like the newspaper, like the want ads?
Yeah, exactly. It was like the want. It was like that. It was people would fax in things to the Career Center to post, and so you would actually have a notebook that people would go through for job leads. Bob,
even the want ads in the local newspaper on Sundays used to be 30, 40 pages.
Yeah. Yeah, which is part of why why the newspaper model is newspapers in general are really struggling. The classified section has been replaced by the online. Remember, you used to buy used things through the what was it, the want ad book?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember that, right?
Yep.
I used to go through. I remember I used to go through and would see the different cars that I wanted.
Oh yeah, circle them. Yeah.
I remember I went to my dad once. It was like like a 20-year-old like Porsche or something. It's like, oh, it's cheap. It's like, good luck getting repair parts for that thing, right? Right? It's like sometimes the bargain isn't necessarily a bargain.
Yeah, he was probably telling you to get your first job so you could afford that car, right?
Exactly. Get back to work. So, well, we're coming up on, we've got just a couple more minutes, but we did want to take a moment to thank our guests that had come on today, including Mike Corcoran, who talked about the Workforce Training Fund and a great resource for business to tap into, business and nonprofits.
Businesses are, like you said, businesses are paying into this fund. They might as well utilize it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a way to kind of get some of that back.
And the other thing, too, is it really does match the incentive for the employer to hire folks that are most kind of out there looking for work, the long-term unemployed too. So that's another avenue to tap into resources to be able to utilize that HITCHI grant or the hiring incentive tax program there. So that is another element that I think we ought to bring to it and make sure people know about it and employers to help, show that, there is an incentive out there for hiring someone that's been, looking for work for more than 6 months. So.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was neat to hear about. It was also good to hear about, to have Amy chat with us about her new venture, Exposure with Mosher, on WCCA
That's gonna
TV.
Be cool. When was the first airing of that? Do we have that up?
I'm not sure we had an actual date.
Oh, okay.
So
just keep an eye out for it, though.
And then we had Lauren from Gozaik.
Yeah.
And,
got to sign up.
And Stephen Budd.
Create your profile on there.
Exactly. Well, I have created my Gozaik profile. I haven't quite gotten to the video or some of the other finer points of it.
I can't wait to see that video.
I'm going to wear an Edwardian suit, and I'm going to talk with an English accent. Do you think that will help my chances?
I'd hire you.
Sean would hire you.
Good day. No, that's like Australian, isn't it? It's a horrible.
I don't know what that was.
Well, I can hear the music in the background. It's time to fade on in for another month. Appreciate you tuning into the show.
Taking your lunch break with us. We appreciate that.
Thanks for making it a working lunch.
Working Lunch is heard the fourth Wednesday of each month right here on WCUW at noontime with your stars of Working Lunch, Jeff Turgeon and Sean McCauley.
# Working Lunch.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.